the crazy rich billionaire lifestyle, and how they own the world. According to reports, a typical billionaire can afford to spend around $80 million a year. They are so unfathomably rich in the eyes of an average person that we cannot even imagine where all that money goes. However, there are also more billionaires in the world than ever before, placing a greater demand on luxury things, ultimately making them mad expensive. Some of the biggest earners celebrate their thriving wealth with hearty comfort food, while others opt for a life of extravagance. From luxury homes to yachts and cars that cost millions of dollars, let's have a peek into the lavish life of billions. But before we get into all that, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Houses. Remember when new house keys were the thrill of a lifetime? It still is for the average Joe. But on the high end, it's about keys to safes, panic rooms, Lamborghinis, yachts, helicopters, and other exotics. When it comes to houses and properties, billionaires go the full length to make sure they get the best. And when you're worth nothing less than 10 digits, there's no limit to the type of property you can get for yourself on God's green earth. That's why you have billionaires like Jeff Bezos spending well over $35 million to buy and renovate a former textile museum in Washington, D.C. to convert it for entertainment purposes. This is just one of the many houses that Mr. Bezos owns in America, apart from his houses in Beverly Hills, California, and New York City, making him one of the biggest landlords in the United States. Oh, and he also has a couple hundred acres in Texas. God knows what he does there, but hey, we're not complaining. But other than its terrible taste in clothes, Bezos doesn't like flashy things. Unlike India's richest person, Mukesh Ambani, who owns the most expensive house in the world. Yes, it's located in India. Named after a mystical place, Antilia, the estate has 27 floors. Valued at over $1 billion, the house features an architecture that follows the principles of the Vastu Shastra philosophy to become an immense portal of positive energy. The Antilia has a lounge, a grand garden, and demands over 600 employees for its maintenance. Right outside, you can also see people living in the street, which shows the staggering inequality in India. Back to America, California is buzzing with the top 1%, as Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook, also has a property in Palo Alto, California. He bought this 5,000 square foot home for $7 million. But for security purposes, he eventually bought the surrounding properties of his neighbors as well. When you are a billionaire, you can literally do anything. Turns out, just like the users on Facebook, Mr. Zuckerberg wants his privacy as well. Too bad privacy is a luxury only the rich can afford. Private islands and land. Billionaires love to buy vast tracts of land. Most of the time, does uber wealthy buy land such as remote islands for lavish villas and estates. Take Zuckerberg, for example, who has hundreds of acres of Hawaii land. Larry Ellison's Lanai Island has several great features, including 2 four-season run hotels and 2 golf courses. The secret wedding of Gates is said to have happened on the 17th hole of the golf course. You see, this island has already been a tourist spot for the rich, and its ownership has actually been passed down from one rich person to another over time. Sometimes, billionaires dispossess communities and harm the environment in the process. They could also instead follow the lead of billionaires like Hans-Jörg Wyss, who have bought land and then established wildlife reserves to protect plants, animals, and broader ecosystems. Land could also be simply returned to indigenous people through a process known as land back, after centuries of colonial violence and dispossession. Cars. Billionaires have the best of everything. And when it comes to cars, their collection also tends to be the premier. They sure do love to burn fossil fuels. Bill Gates is an avid luxury car collector. His first big splurge after founding Microsoft was a Porsche 911 supercar. He later bought a Porsche 959. Elon Musk, as expected, also has an affinity for cars. In 2013, he purchased the Lotus Esprit submarine car used in a James Bond movie for $920,000. In addition to Teslas, he owns a Ford Model T and Jaguar E-Type Series 1 Roadster. Rob Walton of the Walmart family fortune has a large collection of vintage cars. He once owned a Daytona Coupe worth $15 million and only one of 5 ever made. Millionaires usually spend an extravagant amount on the latest Rolls-Royces, Lamborghinis, and Ferraris. However, billionaires usually take a more modest route and just ride in whatever their security detail picks out for them. This pattern is seen in almost every billionaire. We know how famous Bezos' Honda Accord and Larry Page's Prius are. Jets. But not all billionaires travel by land. Billionaires need quick transport. After all, you cannot go to a different continent for a meeting and return home the same day for a dinner party on a Honda Accord. Bezos may be known for his modesty, but he also owns a $65 million Gulfstream G650ER private jet. Businessman Mark Cuban also owns a Gulfstream jet. He purchased a Gulfstream 5 for $40 million, the Guinness World Record for the biggest purchase ever conducted over the internet. Dell CEO Michael Dell has also been part of the Gulfstream Club. He used to own a Gulfstream 5, but reportedly upgraded to a Boeing Dreamliner 787. Yachts. Billionaires love to take it to the sea whenever they feel cramped and want to spend time away from all the hustle. And what's better than getting your own multi-million-dollar super yacht and going to the most remote areas where no one can disturb you, right? Since the pandemic, there's been an explosion in the market for super yachts. Every newly rich person wants to own one, but they're usually nothing compared to the most expensive ones. Take History Supreme, for example. Owned by Robert Knock, a Malaysian billionaire, it is the world's most expensive, largest super yacht in the entire world. At 100 feet in length, History Supreme took 3 years to build, using 10,000 kilograms of solid gold and platinum, both of which adorn the dining area, deck, rails, staircases, and anchor. It cost $4.8 billion. Roman Abramovich, the Russian billionaire, owns the second largest luxury yacht in the world, the Eclipse. It features an intruder detection missile system, 2 helipads, 24 guest cabins, 2 swimming pools, and much more. Abramovich spent $1.5 billion constructing the 533-foot yacht. Royal families in oil-rich countries love yachts and spend unbelievable amounts on them. Azam is another yacht owned by a member of the royal family of the United Arab Emirates. At $600 million, the Azam is 590 feet long and one of the fastest luxury yachts globally. Serene is owned by Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who spent $300 million on it. According to reports, he saw the yacht while on a vacation trip and loved it so much that he bought it overnight. Bezos' US $500 million yacht is also making waves in the news because of the controversial decision to dismantle a historic bridge to let the yacht pass and take it to water for the first time. Whether it's through their private planes, mega yachts, or armadas of cars, billionaires use up a lot of oil as they get from point A to point B. All told, billionaires have carbon footprints several thousands of times greater than the average person. Other spendings. Some cities are such a special place for billionaires that they buy their own local sports teams. Cuban bought the Dallas Mavericks for $285 million in 2000. Jerry Jones owns the Dallas Cowboys, for which he paid a record $140 million. The team was worth $4.8 billion as of September 2017. And Robert Kraft owns the New England Patriots, which he purchased for $175 million. In 2014, Ballmer bought the Los Angeles Clippers for $2 billion. And when billionaires want to control what gets written and said about them, they end up investing in media. In 2013, Jeff Bezos acquired the Washington Post for a staggering $250 million. Being the second richest man in the world has its perks, and running Amazon isn't his only hobby. Bezos, also much like his fellow billionaires Elon Musk and Richard Branson, are fascinated with space tourism. He is the owner of Blue Origin and sells off roughly $1 billion of Amazon stock every year to fund it. He also recently went to space for a few minutes that must have cost a few $1,000,000. Some billionaires spent a crazy amount on art and other stuff. Take Bill Gates, for example. In 1994, he spent $30.8 million to own the Codex Leicester, a 72-page manuscript that Da Vinci compiled in the early 16th century, complete with the master polymath's diagrams, writings, sketches, and ideas for future inventions. Gates cannot read the script, but he has kept it on display in his library to showcase his love for intellect. Gates also has expensive art hanging in his home. He bought a Winslow Homer painting for $36 million in 1988. Alice Walton is a huge patron of the arts. She has an immense private art collection that includes works from Andy Warhol and Georgia O'Keeffe. She once spent $44.4 million on a Georgia O'Keeffe painting. Walton even opened a museum called Crystal Bridges in 2011 to house her $500 million private art collection. That's it for today, folks. Billionaires sure do have a lot of money to spend on things Billionaires sure do have a lot of money to spend on things we cannot even dream of buying. What would you buy if you were a billionaire? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. See you in the next one.